Zach here with Crazy How To's, and I'm going to show you how to stencil. Or at least that's why I think you're here. On canvas, but once again, it can be applied as graffiti or onto anything really if you use spray paint and if you're good at it. For example, this is my friend's laptop. I put this on his case. This is my own stencil. And this is his laptop. Stencil blades, or as they're formerly called, X-Acto knives. You can find these at Hobby Lobby, Michael's, any real craft store. Next, you're going to need an assortment of spray paints or some sort of applicant. You probably need a stencil adhesive unless you choose a different stencil paper. I prefer Waxo. You can find it once again at Hobby Lobby. Usually when you start off stenciling, you usually end up copying images off the internet or copying other people's images to get better at cutting. That's the first thing you need to practice. After you practice cutting other people's ideas, eventually you'll start coming up with your own ideas. Time to get started. You're going to need to connect your image to your stencil paper. Find the easiest way to use is a stencil adhesive. You'll use this twice in the process. Once to cut the stencil, and then you'll use it to put your actual stencil onto an object. Let's see. Let's do this. This should be fine. Should be enough. And the paper is sticky. So then, you take your stencil paper and your normal paper. Alright, well, randomly back to my room. Don't know how that happened. One last tip. Have a cut board so you don't cut your table up. That would be stupid. Hey guys, there's several parts to stenciling. This is actually the second part in a 3-part video. If you want to learn how to create the stencil once you are comfortable with cutting and want to make your own ideas, you should check out my other video, How to Make a Stencil on the Computer. Once you're done cutting your collection of stencils and you want to apply them to canvas or any other surface, you should check out my tutorial on how to apply them. Winging it will give you unsatisfactory results. Your stencil will probably bleed and won't look accurate. I can show you how to make the stencil appear exactly the way on the photo or image you used without bleeding. Just go to my other video called How to Apply a Stencil. Anyways, when the stencil gets hard and gets rather intricate, like this isn't even that intricate, but when it gets really hard, you have to be careful when you're removing the pieces because you don't want to rip away any of the really like delicate little pieces that you're trying to leave behind to bring detail into the stencil. So you really got to be careful with how you do it. Sometimes it's easier to just cut a piece away, like so. You have a raw stencil ready to be sprayed onto anything. This will look exactly like the black image. And you can spray it onto canvas, anything really. And all you have to do then is you take your spray applicant right here, you take your adhesive, spray it all over one side of the stencil, let it dry, get sticky, and then make sure you just press it up against the object to make sure every part and every edge is touching down. And that's how you'll achieve a really smooth and sharp looking stencil that looks exactly like the photograph. And that's how it's done. Like, I didn't even start using spray adhesive till like a couple months ago. So a lot of my stencils were actually, they'd bleed a lot and they weren't very accurate. But I mean, like, with tape, I was able to get some done. For example, this t-shirt was the very first stencil t-shirt I ever did. It's got a dinosaur right there. And on the back, this was my very first stencil. It says, Human Nature. The explosion's an A. Some people don't understand it. But yeah, this is the very first stencil that I made.